So in this tutorial, we're going to look at the SQ3R method of studying or of study reading. Okay, so these are just basically one of the reading strategies or reading skills. You can check out more from our blog. So let's get started. So we're going to look at just basically three things, and then we'll conclude. The first will be what is SQ3R, the second would be why is it important, and then what it stands for. So let's jump into part one. So the SQ3R can also be written as SQ3R. So the 3R means basically just 3 R's. Okay, so it is a reading comprehension method that is named after its 5 steps, which are survey, question, read, recite, and review. So the S stands for survey, Q are questions, read, recite, and review. We'll take a look at those in a moment. So this method was actually introduced by Francis P. Robinson. This was an American educational philosopher, and he introduced it in his book Effective Study. So you can look up Effective Study by Francis P. Robinson if you want to dive deep into this method. But basically what we're looking is just more like an overview, and I think it's good for us to take a look at it because actually it helps us more, as we will see in a moment. So the first thing that you might ask is, what is reading comprehension? So reading comprehension is just the ability to process text, understand it, and also integrate it in what you already know. So you try to understand the words, the meaning, the sentences, and basically grasp the concept of the text. So one key issue that I want to point out here is that the information you gain, okay, from reading is very important. And then there's this thing that you just do the reading, okay, you just do the reading without getting something. Whenever you read something, whether it be a sentence, you must take keen interest in learning something from that. So don't just learn anyhow, or don't just read anyhow. If you read, you should read with the aim of learning something new, or learning even something that you've already learned, but learning it at a deeper scope. So you should train your mind to use this method because it's going to help you a lot. Okay, so let's go to part 2. Why is this important? So I've come up with 4 reasons. Sorry for the numbering, but 4 reasons that we've come up with. So the first reason is to increase retention of written memory. So written information, I mean. So basically, when you use this method, it will try and increase your retention, how far you can hold written information in your head or in your mind. Most of us students, we usually complain of like, I've studied this thing, I've read this through and through, but I still can't remember it, but I studied this some time back. So this would try and improve at least your retention of written memory. So second is, it helps you focus on what you need. It helps you focus on the important part of the text. Of course, as we know, there are a lot of texts and books, literature around there, but there are few things that you might need, or that you might use for your course or for the particular research. So it helps you just focus on what you need from that piece of literature. Okay, then the third, but written as fourth, I said sorry for the numbering. So the third particular importance is that it significantly reduces the amount of time that you need to grasp the important concepts. So it will reduce the amount that you need for you to study. Let's say you have an exam in 1 week time, so you always find yourself like rushing or running against time. So it will actually help you, though I'm not promoting the issue of laziness and procrastination, that you can do other things and then start studying for your exams like in 1 week time or in 2 days time. No, but actually it helps you to reduce the amount of time that you spend studying, and it will also actually help you to study a lot in a short period of time. So um, that's the concept there. And then the last important but not the least is that the point that it helps to create a clear structure of information in your mind. So it will more like create this structure of information whereby information is kind of like connected, like one brick leads to another brick upon another brick, just like that. So information will not be scattered, but it will be more like connected, and hence makes it a little bit easier for you to remember the key concepts. Okay, let's go to the third part. What does SQ3 or 3R stands for? So S stands for survey, Q stands for question, R stands for read, the second R stands for recite, the last R stands for review. So we're going to look at this in depth, but these are just some of the summaries that would help you try and remember what we were talking about. So before you read, you should establish your purpose, and then before you continue reading, you should actually turn your attention to headings, and you turn those headings into questions. You should read for understanding, and then make sure that you find the important key concepts, or you find the answers to the questions. Then you should use your skill of paraphrasing to kind of like recite it, and you should also review or read through again for further clarification. So let's look at these in details. So first up, survey. So when on the step of survey, you should take keen interest to gather information that is necessary to focus on your goal. So try and read the title, and it help your mind to prepare what the text is about. And even though you know the title, but just read it through, just to more like prepare your mind what the text is about. And then you should read the introduction. After reading the introduction, don't just go deep and start reading, but you should go first to the summary to more like try and orient yourself about what you are heading for. So you also take an interest in the headings and the subheadings, and try to organize this whole more like skeleton. Okay, you organize a skeleton of what you're getting into. So if you have a topic and you have subtopics, so you first look at just the heading, the topic itself, and the subtopics, and then you more like kind of create this skeleton which is about to be filled with flesh when you start your reading. So basically this is what we look at. So you skim through, use the skimming and scanning skills to kind of like create this structure or this skeleton structure in your mind. So you look at also you can look at some of the questions that are on those topics, or any attached questions, or in case of some books which come with end of chapter questions, you can just take a look at those as well, so that you can know what you're heading for. Okay, then the Q stands for question. So you now start creating questions. So this will help your mind to engage on what you're doing and try to concentrate. And the thing is this: so how can you make questions on what you don't know? So basically you won't really like make questions for everything, but you would create this more like as you have created the skeletons through your scanning, you now take a look at each and every subheading or bulleting that you have created in your skeleton structure. You think of what kind of questions can come here, what kind of questions can be asked. So you create for yourselves questions. Okay, so you may always add more further questions as you proceed, but at least do something, add some questions to your reading, so that by the end of this particular literature, I must be able to answer this particular question, and this and this and that. So after preparing by surveying and questioning, you also come to the R, the first R, which is read. So in this particular step, you need really to engage yourself, like that mental structure that you have been building, you now fill in the information, now you fill in the flesh now. So you get to now see the whole picture coming to life, like the structure that you had created earlier is now coming to life. So you filled in, or you feed it with more information. Okay, so now you can also take a look at those questions that you also had prepared. Are they having answers now? Are they coming up with answers? From there, you try to recite, and this is basically now where some people could spend a lot of time. Meanwhile, it shouldn't be a much harder thing. With practice, you can improve. But now, when you try to recite, don't necessarily recite the exact words. There are some things, of course, that needs you to exactly recite certain portions of the text, but for the most part, you would just need to recite certain parts with keywords, but keeping in mind that you should recite it in your own words. Put the text in your own words, and this is maybe the mistake that we have gotten into most of the times. We tend to recite the book by word by word, and that makes it very difficult. So you should try and understand, get the concept, and put it in your own words while keeping note or taking note of the key words. Okay, so from there you now go to the final stage where you review. Now in this you refine that organization of information that you have created. You more like put more and more flesh to it, and if there are some end of chapter questions, you try to go through all those, try to answer them. Now if you are failing to answer one or two, you can still go back to read through again, okay, in order to get the full concept. So this is the review part. And if you can there's some questions that you had said earlier, and then you're failing to find answers to that those particular questions, you can still read through again, try to fully get the concept. And with this method, you surely be able to grasp it and actually save some significant amount of time. So in summary, what we are saying is that you first survey, you build up questions, you read, you recite, and you review. So when surveying, you should establish the purpose. Why am I reading? Why am I seated here? Why am I holding this piece of literature? Why am I holding this book? Yeah, so you look at the contents. You can look at the content, you can look at the introduction and the summary. Okay, then you build some questions from those headings, from the contents, and then you start reading. From there, while reading, try to recite and put and paraphrase the sentences and key words in your own words. So from there, you try to review and seek more clarification if at all there were some missing concepts. So basically, that's it. We'll meet again for the next tutorial.